What is the worst Christmas present you've ever received? Story 1, my ex got me, a 63 guy, a women's medium white hoodie. I was so mad about it. She has a habit of getting others gifts that are really for her. I wore the out of that hoodie. Time to mow the grass. Time for the white hoodie. Need to fix the car. Yep, time for the white hoodie. She was so mad. Glad she's an ex. Story 2, first Christmas with my dad, his new wife, and her kids. They opened designer handbags, DVD box sets. This was almost 20 years ago, electronics, etc. I got a bottle of Herbal Essences shampoo. No matching conditioner. My sister got a Hanes 5-pack of granny panties. My stepmother isn't it a nice lady. Story 3, my entire life, my parents have teased me for enjoying soggy cereal. I don't like things that are too crunchy, and I prefer a texture closer to oatmeal. I don't mind the teasing. I think it's funny too, and have made a lot of jokes about it myself. I just like my cereal soggy. In a story, Christmas morning, my brother opens up the novelty bowl, which keeps the cereal and milk separate. I thought it was a neat invention, but I remarked jokingly that I would never use something like that, because as everybody knows, I want my cereal to be soggy. My parents gave me a withering look like I deeply offended them. And my dad told me something along the lines of don't be rude. Little did I know they'd bought one for me as well. And I was very confused when I opened it. It was not a gag gift, and my parents were genuinely annoyed that I didn't like it. But I couldn't pretend otherwise because I'd already blown my cover by commenting on my brother's bowl. The gift itself wasn't insulting or stupid, but the way my family suddenly collectively forgot something that they'd teased me about for 20 years was weirdly hurtful. I still don't get how that happened. Update, wow. I feel seen by all you other soggy cereal eaters, solidarity. Story 4, I was a third-grade teacher. One of the students' moms had her own business selling toys at home parties. She gave me a vibrator, which I opened in front of the whole class because the girl insisted I open her present. Mom wrote me a note that said it would keep me warm on cold winter nights. Story 5, a kitten. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my cat, and am so happy I have her, but when my mom got her for me, it was a poorly thought-out surprise. It was even a surprise to my grandparents, who I live with, and had no idea they'd be getting a cat in their house. She also didn't provide a litter tray, or cat food. So my Christmas became a fetch quest to try to get together everything the kitten needed, with all the shops closed. Story 6, I was told going into Christmas that we were broke, and I shouldn't expect much, if anything, which I was fine with TBH. We chose to celebrate at the grandparents', so no gift openings at home apart from some chocolate in my stocking from Dad. At the grandparents', I opened my gift first, new set of pajamas. I was 13, so they were nice, but not something I was really excited about. Everyone else opens their modest gifts. Parents, grandparents, cousins, aunts, and uncles all had a few gifts each. Usually my grandparents hand out checks to everyone, 100 to 200 each grandkid. But this year, they said there was no checks. Instead, there was a big surprise. My mom hands my sister a car, the final gift. Inside was a photo of my sister's new 6,000 horse, which was big, so we had to get a new 8,000 horse trailer. And because the horse and trailer were so big, a new 24,000 truck was needed. Story 7, someone in the extended family repeatedly gave me alcohol and shot glasses when it was well known I'd quit drinking. They did it maliciously, thinking I'd fall off the wagon. What they didn't understand was that I quit drinking because it was giving me anaphylaxis if I started drinking again. It's not like I'd relapse, I'd die. That gets worse each time. Story 8, my husband is a guitar player. He gives me music equipment that I don't know the purpose of. Of course it's for him. So since I'm an avid gardener, I give him gardening tools for Christmas. Story 9, an Atari 2600. My dad had basically no involvement in my life, but thought that getting a nice gift would make up for it. He got me an Atari 2600 for my birthday in July, and had given it so little thought that he got me another one for Christmas because he forgot that he had already bought one for me. I know people who obviously had it worse, but this was the moment I realized at 8 years old that my dad didn't give about me. Story 10, a one-person tent and lantern for my MIL. We were struggling to pay the bills back then, and she said, in front of everyone, this is in case you guys get evicted. We had 3 kids at the time. Story 11, not Christmas, but my 18th birthday. December baby, basically get to choose which one I want presents. Super poor growing up. Invited to PPL to my birthday. It wasn't too bad. One friend made my cake. It was so badly decorated, it was actually pretty cool. Couple PPL left early. We had pizza and snacks when my friend got me some scratch tickets. 110K, was freaking out. That was literally like half what my mom made in a year. Life-changing, he's laughing. I'm crying. Tells me to look for how to cash it in. It's a fake ticket, literally asked him to go home right then and there. Didn't talk to him anymore. My birthdays are usually bad, but that was just cruel. Story 12, my ex-husband got me Pyrex portable dishes. Seemed fine until the day after Christmas when I went to the bank and discovered those were the free gift when you open a checking account. Turns out he opened a secret account too. Wasn't that sly? Story 13 from my girlfriend's grandparents. I was 17, 18 at the time. They bought me a toy magnet. Not even a decent strength magnet, but one of those ones that are 99 plastic in the shape of a horseshoe with the remaining one consisting of a tiny little bar magnet at each end. This thing didn't even have enough magnetism to pick up a single paperclip. Story 14, an omelet pan, to make my husband an omelet on Sunday mornings for my mother-in-law for my first Christmas in their family. She died the year after, and we divorced after 13 years because he cheated. Good riddance to all of those nut bars. Story 15, one particularly tough year. Many years ago, I was battling cancer. All good now. Hubby worked part-time to look after me and the kids, so money was super tight. Hubby and I decided not to do gifts for each other. Everything we saved for Christmas went to the kids and to the meal. There wasn't much of everything, to be honest, but we made it work. Kids were young. Young kids don't need much to feel special, so we had that in our favor. A few weeks before Christmas, we went to a charity dinner for people doing it tough, and we're all given Christmas gifts. Most people unwrapped it then and there, but we took the gifts home to put under the tree, as there wasn't much of anything under our tree. We waited for Christmas Day, saying ITLL be extra special to wait. It made it look a lot more festive to have more gifts under the tree. I was delighted to have something wrapped under the tree for us parents. I felt sad that I couldn't gift hubby anything, so this was the next best thing given the circumstances. We didn't expect much, but the mystery and excitement of what they could be added a little Christmas magic for us. The gift for hubby and I from the charity was our only gifts that year. The day finally came. It was time to unwrap. Hubby got a men's toiletry set. I got a little pamper set. Well, the packaging said it was filled with bath salts and lotions, but it was empty. Yup, an empty box. Someone had either donated it to charity empty, or a volunteer took the products out. Either way, the charity didn't check to see if the stuff they wrapped actually were okay. I was so absolutely devastated, but fake delight for the kids about the pretty box it came in. I didn't expect much, but that was nasty. What a way to kick a family when they're down. Story 16, I got a shirt from one of my aunts. It was a short-sleeve flannel shirt with a sweatshirt hood on it. She thought it was perfect for me because she thought that I wore ugly clothes. Story 17, I got perfume samples, the kind you find embedded in the pages of magazines, and $2.99 cans of shaving cream. My stepmonster was irritated. I wasn't more appreciative of her practical gifts. My stepsister got a horse. Story 18, one of my co-workers was given a large bag of pistachios. He was my secret Santa and gave me a snack bag size of pistachios a week later at the company meeting. Story 19, a pack of all yellow highlighters, which I was gifted because I like art. I was a little kid and my great aunt was well-meaning, but losing her marbles. Story 20, I was 5. My grandmother got me a solar-powered hand crank radio. I didn't have any interest in the radio. I had no interest in letting it charge in the sun. I had no interest in cranking it. Worst part is my cousin and I are 2 months apart in age. We always go the same gift from our grandma, and they were always so strange. Now we send each other strange Christmas gifts each year in her honor. Story 21, my husband is an incredible human and talented at many things, but he gave me a truly hilarious gift once for our very first Christmas together, 2004. We were young and broke, 22 in grad school. He was so excited to give me my gift, and he presented it proudly in front of my family. He got me a mini sampler of perfumes, a book, and a box of high-end chocolates. These are all great gifts on their own. But ironically, 1, I'm allergic to most perfume escalants. 2, he had already given me the exact same book a few months earlier for my birthday. And 3, I'm lactose intolerant. I was honestly touched by the thought, but the irony was too much. My sister burst out laughing. It's still a joke in our family. But we were all so charmed by the fact that had gone to multiple stores and was so proud. Poor sweet guy. We're happily married now, but he definitely knows to avoid chocolate and perfume. Story 22, how about what I did not receive? If anyone remembers aqua sand, you could put the sand in water and take it out, and it would be dry. You'd use it to basically sculpt little things in the water. Looking back, it was dumb. But I wanted a specific kit so bad. It had penguins, and in 9 years old me loved it. My twin sister got it for Christmas. I don't even remember what I got. Story 23, my ex-husband was 15 and went for his first Christmas with his shitty father, new stepmother, and her 2 sons. His dad says, speaking to the 3 boys, come out to the garage for your big Christmas present. And there were 2 off-road motorcycles, 1 for each of her boys, but nothing for him. This pattern repeated throughout the years. I hated his father from day one, and if he's still alive, I hope he's dying slowly of painful cancer. Story 24, we did a white elephant gift exchange thing growing up. My family would do it every year instead of having to buy a ton of gifts for the family. So all the adults would buy 1 gift and extras, so the kids could each get 1 gift each as well. I was 13, 14 at the time, and I got Dr. Pepper chapstick and a big toy wooden pencil. It's funny now, but back then seeing my brothers and sister get money, it was devastating. Story 25. This is actually a fantastic gift, but I think with context you'll understand why it sucked to skateboard. When I was about 12 years old, my dad, whom I saw a few times a year, bought me a skateboard after I had expressed mild interest. I think I had admired a certain skateboarder and said it looked fun. I don't remember ever saying I wanted to pursue it myself or asking for one. I am notorious in my family for having poor balance and coordination, and I have virtually no depth perception. He knew how to skateboard, but he lived almost 9 hours away, and I saw him a few times a year because he worked and had 5 kids with his new wife where they lived, so he couldn't really give me lessons. No one else in my family could skate. We didn't live anywhere near a skate park, and there was no one older than me in our neighborhood who could mentor me. I lived with my grandparents. One of them worked full-time out of town, and the other thought skateboarding was a horrible idea, so I just had this board that I couldn't really do anything with. I tried to teach myself, but with poor balance, coordination, and depth perception already, I never even managed to stay on the board without holding on to something. It was such an embarrassing gift because it was a reminder of how my dad wasn't in my life, knew little to nothing about my interests, and how crappy my brain and body worked together. I was undiagnosed autistic. Editing to add it really sucked, even more when he later taught my stepbrother and little brothers who lived with him to skateboard and put my little sister in ballet classes like I always wanted, but was too uncoordinated for. Story 26. My grandma knew I loved cartoons and animation, and my uncle, who loved Family Guy, knew I hated Family Guy with a passion. So he told Grandma, since I was adult and loved animation, that she should get me some Family Guy PJs. I could not contain the loathing I felt opening them and seeing Peter Griffin looking at me and my grandma, waiting for me to cheer like I've been all night. Turns out my uncle did that to get 2 presents from Grandma that year cause he knew I would hate it and not want them. So he took them. Story 27. Not me, but my cousin's sisters, age about 5 and 8, got a small bottle of Johnson's baby powder as a joint gift from their great aunt. SMH, it just smacks if she's old. Rusty, she and Uncle Lewis don't have a lot of money, so she takes things from around the house and wraps them up. Story 28. Me. Stepladder, brother 5 years old. He loved sweaters, opened a box from Aunt who was a great knitter. Very excited until he lifted sweater, found out it was a vest. Wore my sleeves. Poor kid cried hysterically. Story 29. A Ziploc bag of Muddy Buddies, with fruit flies all over them, a bag of tortilla chips. They were stale. Another Ziploc bag filled with nail polishes, all old and separating. Those were all the same person. A GF at the time was yelling at me about giving her a stupid and thoughtless gift before tossing their gift at me and stomping away. They gave me a book, a beaten-up, used book. I know it was used because I was the original owner of the book and had lent it to her months before. Story 38. Toothbrush, but hay-raced the rest of it. When we were kids, my 2 younger brothers always got toothbrushes for a stocking stuffer. One year we opened ours and ran into the bathroom to change our old ones out. Cue my youngest brother me reaching for the same toothbrush. We looked at each other with horror. We'd been unknowingly using the same toothbrush as the other for months. Story 31. Collection of hotel toiletries, but they're Louis Vuitton, and a loaf of sourdough bread with a tin of tuna. All in the same year for my husband's family. The only person who was happy that night was the cat. He likes tuna. Story 32. Worst was a present that never showed up. They told me it's on the way. They, being the people who were the givers, never saw that present. But the worst present I received was a special homemade organic bar of soap. It lasted 1 showed and fell apart in the beginning of shower 2 from the same person. Story 33. I dated a guy in college for almost 6 months who was really into Civil War history. I bought an old Confederate dollar bill on eBay, went to Michael's for some cheap fabric backing and a frame, framed it myself, wrapped it, and tied a ribbon around to make a bow. He gave me a seashell from his family beach trip over the summer, from before we had met. So it wasn't like, oh, I found this seashell and thought of you. It was just something he already had knocking about in the back of his closet. Dude was from a wealthy family, and he threw money around like it was nothing, but he couldn't even be bothered to put the seashell in a gift bag. I broke up with him the next day. Story 34. Nothing. One year, we were pretty poor due to my mother's insane spending habits, but she managed to scrounge up enough cash to get my little sisters and little brother a few things. I, however, had nothing under the tree and nothing in the stocking. My mom just acted like it wasn't a big deal, and I should be happy. I still had a roof over my head. I was 12. At the family dinner later, my mother had a new one ripped into her by my grandmother when I was asked what I got. So maybe I did get a little something. Story 35. Towards the bottom of my Christmas list, I wrote Nellie CD. My sister and I were big-time snoopers and would find most of our gifts scattered throughout the house other than the big ones, which to this day, am not sure where my mom pulled off hiding them. Well, we happened to find a Nellie CD hidden in a laundry room cabinet. But it was a CD by pop singer Nelly Furtado instead of the intended CD by rapper Nelly. In the days leading up to Christmas, I felt annoyed, and being a kid, I couldn't hide my disappointment upon opening it on Christmas Day either. My mom took ownership of the CD, and it featured heavily into the family car music rotation and played during all of our family trips. With my sister, and I'm mocking my mom's blunder and mocking all the songs, especially Like a Bird all the while. Meanwhile, we both secretly liked the CD, and Nelly Furtado really blew up a few years later. Story 36, I don't drink coffee. My now ex-partner didn't drink coffee either. My now ex-mother-in-law knew this. She knew this because every time she came over, she would complain that we didn't offer her any coffee, and we would explain that since neither of us drink coffee, we didn't have coffee. Well, one Christmas she gave me a coffee maker. Story 37, when I was about 10, all I wanted was a VCR. Asked for it all year. My hateful grandmother, who raised me, put a bedspread in a VCR box. I'm 47 now, but I'll never forget it. Story 38, my brother-in-law for 3 years in a row now gets me these like desk toys. They're almost like fidget toys, things to pass the time while at work. And he doesn't even give me like one or two, he gives me like a whole box full of them. I have no idea how or why this started. I always just say thank you and immediately put them in the box to donate. Story 39, me and my sister have a competition to try and get each other the strangest gifts we can. They invariably end up being the worst gifts, but are fun regardless. Probably not what you meant by worst gift, but I'll share anyway. I think the ones of note for me are still the nativity scene, she replaced with plastic dinosaurs, or the box of chocolates replaced with ABC gum. My favorite eBay given to her is either the lifetime supply of straws, just roughly 10,000 or so straws stolen from every fast food place within a 100-mile radius of me, or the year I got her the street sign that said she was adopted on it. This year I'm going to make her a hanging ornament that's just 20 or so shakers filled with glitter attached to a coat hanger. She's going to love it. Story 40, a blouse my Mile pulled out of her closet. I made her squirm by asking for the receipt so I could exchange it for a different size. She said she must misplaced it. A purple polyester pantsuit when I was 15. It looked like it was for a 50-year-old woman. No offense to 50-year-old women. This was in the mid-70s. Story 41, we were pretty poor growing up, and my dad got injured on the job. It was the first Christmas since the injury settlement, and my parents were having a new 2-story house built with a chunk of the money. I was 12 at the time, and all I wanted and asked for was a guitar. I knew guitars were expensive, so I asked it to be my only gift. Christmas morning, my little brother and sister start opening gifts, nice toys, games, etc. My first gift was a single washcloth, second gift was a single towel, next was a shower curtain. My mom had used Christmas to redecorate the bathroom for the new home and wrapped each item and just put my name on it. After the third washcloth, I stopped opening gifts and asked if they got me a guitar. They said no, because you'll just get bored of it. I asked if I could exchange the bathroom stuff to buy myself some games or something. I was called ungrateful and hard to shop for. I ended up using my college money to buy a guitar a few months later, and my parents refused to buy me any more gifts for birthdays or Christmas because of the incident, so they just give me a card or cash. This was 30 years ago, and they still refuse to buy me gifts. I now teach guitar to kids for free and have made a lot of friends playing in bands. Story 42, a German, meat-based cookbook for my now ex-mother-in-law. She knew I had become vegetarian and disapproved. The thing was, I dropped it at Goodwill the following week, and a couple weeks after that she asked if she could borrow it. Story 43, any gift for my insane mom. The gifts themselves were spot on, because my dad did the shopping, but my mom would cry and sob the whole time, saying, I just know you hate it, and freaking out, because we didn't love her. She was right about that to this day. I have a hatrophobia of opening presents, but am super positive about Christmas for other people. Story 44, one year, my MIL got me a pair of nice jeans. They were nice and well-made. The issue was that she got my BAL's wife 4 courtside seats to an NBA game. She got my other BAL's girlfriend a weekend spa trip for her, and 2 friends. How can your MIL tell everyone she hates you without actually saying out loud? Story 45, that would be the pair of Christmas socks where they claimed one sock was for Christmas and one for my birthday, while laughing hysterically. My birthday is the 24th. A runner-up to worst gift was a rubber band ball. I was 16, and it wasn't a gag gift. Tied in place with the book I gave my mom, 2 years later, re-gifted to me, as she said she didn't want it. And if I didn't either, to just throw it away. It was a memory book. I canceled my birthday and only started recently doing holidays again for my kid. Story 46, my ex was the absolute worst gift giver. One birthday, I received a 60 milk frother, neither of us drink milk. ETA, another birthday gift, a custom license plate with a fish on it. But the best worst gift, a box covered in assorted Christmas wrapping paper scraps, and with one of the bulb ornament from the tree taped on top. Inside was one lime green bath towel and a Glock. I know people say it's the thought that counts, but I think that assumes the thought count itself is greater than zero. El Mayo. Story 47, Christmas 92. Terminator 2 Bioflesh Regenerator playset. You should have been able to put skin on a Terminator skeleton. It came with one tub of powder to make the skin from, ran out, and only got up to the legs, cried a lot. Story 48, I had asked my boyfriend of 4 years for a nice, not cheap, but certainly not expensive digital camera. This was Christmas 07. I researched the kind I wanted, priced it out, told him all about it. On Christmas Day, he hands me my gift, and I excitedly open it to find a camcorder. He says, so we can record concerts and stuff. He spent more money on a camcorder that would never make it into a concert without getting taken by security than the camera I had been talking to him about for a few months. We ended up breaking up 8 days later, not due to the camcorder, but I realized he didn't listen to me or take my opinion into account for the 4 years we had been together. I guess ultimately, it was a great gift because it opened my eyes to a lot of shitty things he was doing. Story 49, I was in debate my freshman year. It was a blended grade class. The teacher arranged an optional Secret Santa for the class. One of the seniors got my name. Exchange day comes around, and I get a 20 gift card to Starbucks. Cool. He didn't know me that well, so a gift card was fine. At the time, ID never had Starbucks, so I was happy to try it. Went to get something and found out there was $2.73 left on the card. He literally just gave me his used gift card. I had an ex take me to the mall and dismally demand I pick something because he didn't feel like trying to guess what ID like. We had been together for 7 years. I didn't pick anything, and a few days later he became single for Christmas. Story 50, worst gift I ever got was this year. Actually, minus 150 and a bunch of stress. For context, my ex and I recently broke up, but we're still living together for the moment. My mom texted me asking if my ex gave me and our kid our Christmas money. I replied that my ex said my son just got a gift card. My mom told me the box she sent had 150 for each of us, the gift card, candy for the boy, and a calendar for all of us. I confronted my ex about it, and it was like pulling teeth to get an answer. The end result was the 450 being spent on 60 for my ex and our son to go out to eat 90 worth of groceries for our son from Dollar Tree, 100 to cover a fraudulent overdraft charge, instead of, calling the bank and reporting it 200 at the dispensary. What about the candy? Oh, I gave it to him. Son said he never got it. What about the calendar? What calendar? My mom and I were both pissed. My ex kind of shrugged it off like it's done. There's nothing we can do about it. It's not like I was going to spend my money on fun stuff. I was going to use it to pay bills that we're behind on. Yet my ex saw no issue with spending everything irresponsibly. Story 51-7, first Christmas as an adult where I have a boyfriend. I got him some decent presents. I hand them to him, thinking he's gotten this for me hidden somewhere. He turns to me and says, remember how I upgraded your laptop with better RAM? Merry Christmas. Not something I cared about or needed in the slightest. 2006 new boyfriend. I tell him about my shitty Christmas present the year before and that I just want something to open. I should have been more specific. The night before Christmas, he asked to borrow my wrapping paper and some boxes. I was kind of miffed that I had to supply my own boxes and wrapping paper. But at least he got me something, or so I thought. Christmas morning comes around, and he has a huge box for me, which I proceed on open, a smaller box, inside of the smaller box, and so on, until I got to a pill bottle. On the pill bottle was the following IOU 100 gift card to Glamour Shots. Story 52 was around 10 years old. I got a plant, a poinsettia. I was left without a word, asking myself why I was punished when everyone else got cool stuff they actually liked, even if it was not pricey stuff. A plant. I had never showed any interest in plants. I still don't get it. Story 53, my biological mother showed up Christmas Eve after no contact for 2 years and gave me pet mice. I already had a pet cat. There were no supplies. I think she just did that to be petty and inconvenience the family. Story 54, earrings from my boyfriend. When I didn't have pierced ears and when I saw the box, I thought it was a ring and he was proposing. And when I reminded him I didn't have pierced ears, he returned them and kept the money. Story 55, okay, I was 6 at the time. So it was Christmas and I did the usual screaming ITS Christmas wake up everyone. Then I went downstairs to check under the tree to see if Santa left me any presents. Underneath, there was a present wrapped in baby blue. It felt soft like cloth. I didn't think much of it and opened the box. Inside, there was a baby-sized baby blue onesie that said, baby boy. Then there was a note for me. It said, congratulations, my name, you're going to be a big sister. That present still is a pain in my to this day. Don't worry, I also got a kitchen set. Story 56, as a teen, my dad didn't have much concept of technology and largely assumed that equal cost was equal value. One Christmas, he bought my brother an iPod and bought me iPod accessories of roughly the same cost. He spent the same amount on both of us, and I didn't have the heart to tell him that my gifts, without an iPod to use them on, were entirely useless. Story 57, age 7, crocheted coat hangers. My step-grandma got all the grandkids normal gifts. Mine was a dozen metal coat hangers crocheted over. I still have one 30 years later out of sheer spite. Now, that's a long-term resentment. Maybe if this gets some attention, he'll post it. Story 58, a sweater. I was 6 years old. That doesn't sound bad, but my aunt who had got me had told my mom she was going to give me a train set, but got me a sweater instead. Hearing that as a kid definitely soured my mood. Story 59, I once had a notepad from my mom that she had clearly nabbed from her cleaning job in an office. That was the only gift. She would normally spend thousands on my younger brother's different dads. They'd have a pile of gifts waist high, spanning the entire living room. I got a notepad. Story 60, last year, my MIL gave my partner multiple fancy gift bags, tissue paper and all, very obviously full of random clutter she had cleared from her spare room. Not like nice extra items to give away, truly just useless odds and ends. Made even more obvious because that month she had been talking a lot about how she was finally going through and decluttering, like it was a big conversational topic with her every time we met. On the bright side, it kind of helped me get through to him that maybe she was a little weird and sometimes rude. Cracked his wall of only son denial, lol. A year later, his boundaries have gotten a lot healthier, so I suppose that's a good gift. Story 61, a broken ornament. No, I'm not even kidding. My grandpa's wife, not my grandma, gave both me and my adult cousin blown glass ornaments. Only mine was broken inside the bag. Now I wouldn't have cared had my cousin gotten one and not me. We were adults, so it didn't matter. I opened it, and she was like, I know it's broken, but you can fix it, right? It's a blown glass ornament. No, I can't fix it. And even if I wanted to ID cut myself she knew it was broken and still gave it to me. Needless to say, she's not the brightest. Story 62, this will probably get buried, but we went over to my grandma's to wrap presents. So we were wrapping gifts for our cousins and vice versa. She was old and bedridden. We were wrapping such cool things. Polly Pockets, Barbies, easy bake ovens. I was so excited to go over for Christmas to see what she got us. I opened a container of hand sanitizer, like a gallon-sized container of hand sanitizer. And that was my only gift. I was 9. Story 63, during my high school years. When I was in the formative moments of forging a political viewpoint, a ton of my relatives gave me a bunch of books written by a certain biased political commentator that definitely leans strongly towards one side of the political spectrum over the other. Not going to name names, but yeah, it was very obvious that they were just trying to influence my political ideology to match with theirs. And then as an adult, I went to the complete opposite end of the political spectrum. Story 64, my boyfriend got me a scale once. For context, we had been together for nearly 6 years, and every Christmas before that he had given me a gift card to a store where I was supposed to go and buy underwear. That Christmas, when I saw that he had gotten me an actual thing, I was so excited. Unwrapping the gift to find that it was a scale really knocked the wind out of my sails. I spent the entire weekend crying and being. His reasoning behind the gift was that he had seen me using the scale in his bathroom to weigh myself, and he thought it would be nice for me to have my own. So he decided to get me my own scale and give it to me for Christmas. When I had calmed down, I had a discussion with him where I was able to make him understand that regardless of his intentions, receiving a scale as a Christmas gift really hurt my feelings, and I wanted a do-over gift that was, actually a gift. We went to the mall, and together we picked out a beautiful necklace. It's been 3 years since the incident, and we're still together. At the time, I thought I would never get over how hurt I felt. Now we both look back and laugh at it. It honestly kind of warms my heart because it's an example of how we were able to use communication to solve a problem and move past it. Story 65, some of these break my heart. It's one thing to get a truly gift from a gift exchange occasionally, but the family ones where someone get like a bottle of shampoo or socks while everyone else got cool toys is horrible. Story 66, nothing. When I was 7, I would read The Giving Tree. Every time I went to the store with my mom, she would come find me and see that I was reading it. That Christmas, at our one present on Christmas Eve tradition, I opened mine to find the book, not thinking straight, or like a 7-year-old I stated, I didn't want this. This made my dad angry. He took the book and scolded me. I was then told I wouldn't be getting anything on Christmas Day. I did not. Story 67, years ago, my wife asked what I wanted for Christmas, and I asked for a Kramer chef's knife, and she agreed. Christmas rolls around, I got a 10 o'clock radio. I was pissed off. A very stinky hair iron quilted heat pad, used from the 80s, smelled like actual pee and cheese. Someone forgot their secret Santa gift, and the after-school program dug around in storage to find me something 10 was the gift price and found the stinkiest thing in the world. I would have been happier not participating. Everyone got the coolest gifts. I got a piece of soggy, stinky trash that had burnt holes in it. It was damp, literally wet from the bottom of the storage shed. It was an important lesson as a kid one. If you forget secret Santa gift, it's okay, but you must step out and not participate. 2, I put all my excitement into giving gifts that I forget I'm getting one.